Joseph Stalin died Thursday, March 5th, 1953 at 9:50 p.m. The communist leader suffered a severe cerebral hemorrhage, which was the main cause of his death. Many people packed into the city streets just to catch a glimpse of this leader's corpse. These crowds were not safe to be caught in. Experts calculate that approximately 500 people died by being choked to death, trampled, or being rammed into traffic lights. One may not be so sure why so many people wanted to see such an appalling leader's dead body. After all, he did leave his people to starve and put them into a famine. He also invented the Gulag system, imprisoning thousands of men and making them work in brutal temperatures. Stalin was later buried at the Kremlin Wall necropolis in Moscow. Back to you, Megan.
On October 4th, 1957, at 7:28 p.m., the Soviet Union launched the first artificial satellite. It was a 184-pound steel ball containing a small transmitter into an orbit of Earth named Sputnik 1. It was launched in Kazakhstan at a launch site called Gagarin Start. The purpose of Sputnik 1 was to determine the temperature in space. Would this new technology from the Soviets enable them to send a missile to America? Next is weather. For this week's forecast, right now it's 39 degrees with a high of 50 and a low of 43, cloudy with a 20% chance of rain. On Monday there's a high of 63 with a low of 45, 60% probability of rain. Tuesday has a high of 54 and a low of 39. Wednesday a high of 52 and a low of 50. Thursday has a 60% chance of thunderstorms, and Friday with 10% probability of rain with high winds.
Okay.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO for short, has 28 existing members to form a political and military alliance. It was signed on April 4th, 1949 between the United States and 11 other Western countries. NATO's main goal is to protect the freedom and security of its members through political and military needs. NATO's political field promotes democratic values and encourages consultations. They also try to build trust and defend security issues. The organization continues a system of collective defense where its member states agree to mutual defense in response to an attack. As said in Article 5 of the Pact, an armed attack upon one shall be considered an attack against them all. As for the military portion of the organization, they are committed to a calm and peaceful resolution of disputes. They adopted this feature in 2010. NATO is a solid and governmental military alliance. NATO provides an opportunity for all countries involved to make decisions on security issues in the various fields. A decision made, though, through NATO is a collective decision between all different 28 members. Every day, many different civilian and military officials come to the NATO HQs to discuss and share different ideas to help prepare decisions. NATO helped to influence the Cold War and also helps to influence today's political and military needs. When NATO was first formed, they had to maintain stability during the Cold War. The Warsaw Pact was a mutual defense pact created during the Cold War. It was signed on May 14, 1955, in Warsaw, Poland. The Warsaw Pact was a Soviet military reaction, accommodation of West Germany into NATO. Since the end of the war, NATO met with newer security of today. Today, though, NATO leads the ISAF, or an International Security Assistance Force, in Afghanistan to make sure it's secure.
Hello, folks. I am here with the one and only Elvis Presley today as we talk about his life in the 1950s. Come on out, Elvis.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So, Elvis, when is your birthday?
My birthday is January 8th, 1935. I was born at 4:35 a.m. It was an early one.
What was your childhood like?
Well, it was a little rough, but we fixed those patches up. I grew up in Toluca, Mississippi, with my parents Gladys and Vernon. I love those two so much. And I did have a twin brother. His name was Jesse. but he was a stillborn. So yeah. And then after my birth, my mom, she went to the hospital for complications, and she realized the doctors told her that she couldn't have no more babies. So I was an only child. And then my father, when I was like 3, my father was sentenced to prison because he sold a pig. And he told the person it was only for $4, but he changed that check, man. He changed it. It's either 40 or 14, I don't know, probably 40. He needed the money. But after that, my mom, Gladys, she couldn't make enough money, so we had to move to a relative's house. And then that was only one of many moves from house to house of mine. Yes. Yeah.
All right. How did you become so involved with music?
Well, I mean, well, since we moved a lot, the only things that were consistent in my life were my parents, and it was also my music. I love my music dearly, man. When I was little, I would go to church and I would listen to music, and I taught myself how to play the church piano, and that's how I learned how to play piano. And then, oh my goodness gracious, these fans, they just come so crazy. Oh my goodness gracious, you're gonna have to put some applauses in there. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright. So, I looked and listened for music everywhere. And then that's when I went to church and I taught myself how to play and all that jazz. And then, when I was 8, I hung around the radio station a ton. I hung around the radio station all the time. And then when I turned 11, when I turned 11, the big second double digits number, yeah, that's when I got my guitar for my first birthday. And then by high school, my family, we had moved to Memphis, Tennessee. When we moved to Memphis, Tennessee, I was in so many clubs and sports in high school. I was like in football, and then there's this other ones like I don't even know, some crazy name. Well, I was in all them things. And then I got my hair black, and that's where I got my signature look. Oh, wait. Alright. So that's how I got my signature look, but I've changed since then, obviously. Alright.
So everyone really wants to know, how did you get yourself into the big leagues?
Well, I got into the big leagues because I played at nightclubs for, not full-time, but I had half-time, but that was good. And then I rose quickly to stardom because for one of my most favorite songs, I can't remember so many songs, but one of my most favorite songs, I signed with the Sun Records, and Sun Records produced 4 of my records. Yeah, they did. And then there were high school students and college students that would come to my performances. Dang, they were crazy. They tore my clothes, man. They ripped them off my they ripped them off my skin. They ripped them. All right. And then so they did all that, and then in 1956, I was on a couple of television shows like Stage Show, Milton Berle Show, Steve Evans Show, and the Ed Sullivan Show. Yeah, they're nice.
And this show.
And, wait.
This show right now.
Oh yeah, and this show. I love this show. This one's the best. I love it so much.
All right, well.
No, I don't want to leave.
Well, that wraps up our day, so thank you for coming and being with us. But, and now for a message from our...
After a long day at the desk, here's why many high school students lose no time getting home. So keep that real Coke refreshment handy, stock your refrigerator with Coca-Cola, and always keep Coke on your shopping list. For when the young folks are coming home from school, or any time at all, it's mighty nice to know that there's plenty of ice-cold Coke on hand.
Woo! Those exams were sure hard today.
I know. Corey's exam was impossible. Like, who's think I am, Superwoman?
Did you guys see number 5? I didn't even answer it.
I could go for a Coke. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Please.
This is great.
Yeah, these are great.
Yummy! Cheers! Oh no!
The Eisenhower campaign national campaigns to make a maiden concerted effort to win the female vote. In his radio and television commercials, Eisenhower discussed topics such as education, inflation, ending the war in Korea, and other issues that thought to appeal women. His campaign made extensive use of female campaign workers. On Election Day, November 4th, 1952, Eisenhower won a solid majority of the female vote. Eisenhower also campaigned by attacking Korea, communism, and corruption. That is, what the Republicans regarded as the failures of the outgoing Truman administration to deal with these issues. The nominees for the November 4th, 1952 election were Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was a part of the Republican Party, and Adlai Stevenson, who was part of the Democratic Party. Eisenhower's home state was New York, and his running mate was Richard Nixon. Stevenson's home state was Illinois, and his running mate was John Sparkman. Eisenhower's electoral vote was 442, while Stevenson's was only 89. States carried for Eisenhower were 39, and states carried for Stevenson were 9. The popular vote for Eisenhower was 34,075,529, while Stevenson's was 27,375,090. The percentage for Eisenhower was 55.2%, and the percentage for Stevenson was 44.3%. In response to Soviet impact in the Middle East and elsewhere, the president made a statement in January of 1957 that became known as the Eisenhower Doctrine. The Eisenhower Doctrine is the policy of President Eisenhower that stated that the United States would use force to help any Middle Eastern nation threatened by communism. He used this doctrine in 1958 to validate sending troops to Lebanon to put down an uprising against its pro-American government. Eisenhower acknowledged much of Truman's foreign policy. He believed sturdily in a policy to vigorously contain communism. John Foster Dulles, Eisenhower's Secretary of State, was a proficient diplomat who had helped establish the United Nations after World War II. Dulles permitted the president's image of the role the United States should play in the world. In their tactic toward foreign policy, Eisenhower and Dulles fluctuated significantly from Truman and his Secretary of State, Dean Acheson. Both teams of men considered the spread of communism the greatest intimidation to the free world. But Eisenhower believed that Truman's approach to foreign policy had hauled the United States into a boundless series of conflicts initiated by the Soviet Union. These limited regional conflicts threatened to channel the country's resources. Now back to Tony and Lily with sports.
And we're back.
The 1950 World Series was the 47th World Series between the American and National Leagues for the championship of Major League Baseball. The games will be played between Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Yankees. The Phillies are the 1950 champions of the National League, and the Yankees are the 1950 American League champions. There would be a total of 7 games played between the two teams.
The series began on Wednesday, October 4th and ended Saturday, October 7th.
The Phillies took the home field advantage for the series, which means that there would be less than 3 games would be played at the Yankee Stadium.
The opening game, played in Philadelphia, resulted in the Yankees taking the win with a final score of 1-0. Game 2, also played at Philadelphia, resulted in the Yankees winning another game to win with a final score of 2-1. This game was taken into 10 innings because there was a tie of 1-1 in the ninth. Game 3, played at Yankee Stadium, allowed Yankees to win 3-2, having a 3-win advantage over Philadelphia. After the 4th game of the series, also played in New York, had resulted in the Yankees winning all 4 games. The score of the 4th game was 5-2, and it was the only game throughout the series that was won by more than 1 run.
The 1950 World Series title would be the second of a record 5 straight titles for the New York Yankees between 1949 and 1953. This was also the last all-white World Series, as neither club had integrated in 1950. And now, another word from our sponsor.
I wish my hair could